My name is Catherine Jones, and I will discuss U.S. hunger. Millions of Americans are living in hunger. Our country's economic crisis is resulting in record high spikes of poverty, unemployment, and homelessness, which leads to hunger in most cases. Our country's economic crisis is resulting in record high spikes of poverty, unemployment, and homelessness, which leads to hunger in most cases. Food insecurity exists in every United States county. 49 million are affected by hunger, 17 million children suffer from hunger, and 1 in 8 people use food banks. Ironically, research suggests a food surplus due to technology used for planting and harvesting. So the question is, if there is more than enough food, why are people still hungry? One root cause is poverty and cultural inequality. In order to cut costs in the economic crisis, companies moved offshore. Employment rates dropped, leaving many with poor housing, lack of food, and health disparities. Those affected the hardest are Hispanic and Latino families, whites and low-income rural areas, and African American families. And another reason is United States politics. Poverty and hunger aren't always the top priorities with some political figures. Focus is towards military and security costs. And as noted on my slide here, United States spends more in military spending than any other country. Also, corporations and the wealthy invest money into lobbying and campaigns over issues like hunger. And yet another reason is United States politics. Poverty and hunger aren't always the top priorities with some political leaders. Focus is more towards military and security costs, and corporations and the wealthy invest money into lobbying and campaign over issues like hunger. And as noted on my slide, United States spends more in military spending than European Union, China, Russia, Japan, India, and practically the rest of the world. And yet another reason is United States is a wasteful country. Over 40% of food is thrown out yearly, which is an average of $165 billion of food just entering landfills each year. Hunger is also a very serious issue that can lead to chronic illness and also death. As this chart shows, there are more hunger-associated fatalities than some of the leading illnesses that are going on in the nation. 1 in 5 children are also affected by hunger, and it can cause a child to be underweight, have stunted developmental and social skills, and chronic illnesses. Also, as far as the social skills, children tend to be more stressed and suffer anxiety due to being food deprived. In the United States, 1 in 5 children in a family are affected by hunger, and it can cause them to be underweight, have stunted developmental and social skills, and chronic illnesses such as malnutrition. Children who suffer from hunger also tend to be highly stressed and suffer from anxiety. The elderly are also at risk for hunger. In 2009, 4.9 million between the age of 50 to 59 were really at risk of hunger. And that age group is at risk because they're too young to receive Social Security or Medicare, but they're too old for programs designed for families with children, such as SNAP. And also in 2014, 3 million households with seniors 65 and older experienced food insecurity. And that age group is also really at risk because they can suffer life-threatening illnesses such as heart failure, heart attack, and asthma. And because this age group is usually on a fixed income, many were left to decide whether they would pay for their medication or buy food. And in most cases, they would choose their medication. Some ideas to eradicate hunger is one, through awareness, just helping families know about the SNAP program, WIC, and maybe local food pantries, just getting the word out that these resources are in their area. Also, improved funding, better funding for these programs, such as a grant at the federal level, and also community involvement, more involvement with community services. They can possibly plan hunger relief for communities, and maybe even food pantries could actually travel to families that don't have transportation. And also, I believe just sharing the wealth. According to this organization called Oxfam, it's an international philanthropy organization. If 100 of the world's wealthiest people get together, they could easily end world hunger. And this is achieved by closing tax havens and yielding at least $189 billion in additional tax revenues. Subsequently, the lack of food isn't the issue. It's ensuring everyone will have access. It may not be an easy task, but ending hunger can be accomplished.